Hey, what's going on, my friends? I got to share some news with you. You may or may not know this, but as you can see here, the average American has $90,460 in debt, according to a 2021 CNBC report. That included all types of consumer debt products from credit cards to personal loans, mortgages, and student debt. And the average amount of debt by generation in 2020, you can see it here broken down. Gen Zs, who are ages 18 to 23, that's $16,000. Millennials, ages 24 to 39, that's about $88,000. Gen X, ages 40 to 55, that's about $140,000. And baby boomers, $97,000. And silent generation, about $41,000. Most of you guys watching this video, I mean, it's going to be one of these three. Probably you're aligned with the millennials, so you might be somewhere up here close to $90,000 in debt. Whew. I know the pain, my friends. I will say that. I can't say I can relate right now because I've worked my butt off to get my debt down to zero, to be debt free. But I will say, I was in here with you guys, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that I had in debt, delinquency. I mean, it was not pretty, but it took me a lot of hard work and consistency to get myself out of debt. And I want to share with you guys 3 different strategies that you can use to help you with also getting out of debt. And we're going to share 5 or 6 different tips that you can also implement and apply to your particular strategy. Because, my friends, 2022 is here, and now is the time, if you haven't already been proactive with taking the steps to move forward and improve your situation, now is the time to get the ball in motion, get your gears in motion, and start to make it happen, my friends. And it really starts with, one, actually watching this video all the way through and making sure you are aware of these strategies. And then 2, feel free to do more research, and if you don't feel like you learned quite enough here, or look at other videos I've made, because I have made some talking about some of these strategies alone, and they dive more into them. So definitely do your research, my friends, but ultimately you got to start. And you're watching this video, so that's a good start, because that means you do know you have debt and you do want to get rid of it. That's the first place to begin, because I had debt for quite a while and I didn't really care. And I kept just getting more and more, and I didn't care. And it wasn't good debt, as they say. It was just stupidity. And it wasn't good. My credit score fell down to beneath 600. I was in the 500s, and things were not pretty. I'm in a much better place today. And I believe a lot of you guys out there can also be in a much better place, be debt-free, by implementing these strategies and these techniques. All right, my friends. So the first strategy that you can apply, that you can implement, is the debt snowball. The debt snowball method gains speed as it goes along, like rolling a snowball across the ground. Begin by paying off debts from smallest to largest. List debts by size and then tackle the smallest one. Make sure to pay minimums on all other bills and send extra cash to that small bill until it's completely done with. Then repeat this strategy with the other debts. With each bill paid off, there's more money to put to the next debt. Plus, it's encouraging to see progress and can keep you on track to see debts vanishing. That's the key part with the debt snowball, this last part, because it's not the most efficient strategy in approach. If you want to do it where you're paying off your stuff most effectively and efficiently, and kind of the quickest way, this isn't the solution. But from a psychological point of view, oftentimes, if you're new to really doing something like this, and if you're tight on cash and you have all these other temptations, you want to go out balling, you want to hit the club, you want to get some lobster and shrimp and get some new Nikes and kicks, look fresh, this, that, and the other, Dior, whatever it is, that's, tough, because you want all that other goodies and you want to live that life and look that part. And, it's an emergency up in here. because you can't really afford all of that stuff. You shouldn't be doing it. And instead, you should be applying that money towards your debt. And when you take the debt snowball approach, you actually see, that small credit card bill that was $200 or $300 paid off in full. And you're like, oh, snap, like, yo, I paid off that bill that I had that was always nagging me for the past year, 2 years, whatever. It's all done. I paid it off and it feels good. And that's motivational and encouraging. And you'll be motivated to keep that ball rolling. And again, it's a snowball effect. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you just keep rolling it over and over. Yeah, my friends, this might be the best approach for a lot of you guys out there. So definitely consider doing this. Lining up all your debt in order from smallest to largest. Pay all of them, the minimum balance on all of them. But any money you have left over every month, put it towards that small one. Number 2 on this list is the debt avalanche. As you can see, the debt avalanche strategy takes a similar approach, but instead orders debts by interest rate. First, you make a list of all your debts from highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. You then concentrate on paying off the highest interest debt first while making minimum payments on the lower interest debt. This cuts back on the amount you're paying in interest, which frees up more cash to pay down other debt. My friends, this is what I'm talking about. Again, when you are tempted to go out balling and get some new whatever, like I said, it's an emergency up in here, and you need to, someone needs to call the financial police, the debt police, whomever, and get them in here to stop you so that we can say, hey, hold on, you got all this debt, and look at all this interest that you have on these particular credit cards. Maybe we want to put more attention towards those credit cards first, because that's really where your debt is accumulating most, that high interest. By doing that, you're minimizing how much you're going to be paying in interest, which is, again, where that debt's occurring the most, right? So let's target that area. And by doing that, you're going to help speed up the process of how quickly you can become debt-free. So it won't necessarily probably feel as good, because you might be tackling something that has a $20,000 balance on it compared to, first, and focusing on that the most because that has the highest interest, whereas you have something that has only a $300 total amount, but the interest is so low, you haven't really focused on that. And like I said, if we take the debt snowball approach, you would only be focusing on the small one. But with this debt avalanche approach, you want to target the interest accounts. And it might be more challenging for some of you guys to stick with this for the long haul if you don't actually see a bill being paid off in full. However, you should see the amount on those bills drastically dropping, quite a bit if you do take this approach. The number 3 approach to take, the strategy that you can apply to your situation when it comes to becoming debt-free for 2022, is debt consolidation. If it becomes hard to keep track of various payments and due dates, consider debt consolidation. With debt consolidation, the lender pays off all your existing debts and rolls them into one new loan with one payment. While the new interest rate may be higher than some of the other bills, you could wind up saving money by avoiding missed and late payment fees. Nonprofit credit counseling agencies can help set up debt management plan with debtors. An agency will negotiate on your behalf with the companies that you owe money, arranging for lower payments, setting up reasonable repayment plans, and possibly securing debt forgiveness. And I will say, my friends, this was actually the way I was able to essentially get the ball rolling with turning that leaf, so to speak, for me. I mean, I would say I kind of took on an approach where I applied all 3 of these, but this was, really my college loans were just like all over the place and bad, and being able to consolidate all of those loans into one was huge for me, really huge, a game changer. And that's really where things started to turn around for me, I would say, not completely, but the first kind of good sign and indication that I was heading in the right direction. So my friends, as you decide on which strategy makes most sense for you. And I'm going to share my thoughts in a moment as to exactly really what I did to help you guys. And maybe I'll make another video on that. But ultimately, number one tip for tackling this debt, paying off your debt in 2022, is to stick with a budget. Stick to that budget, baby. Whatever strategy you choose for paying off debt, you'll need a budget. Otherwise, it's too easy to get off track. With the budget, it's easy to see where each dollar is going. This will help you identify areas where you could cut costs and save money. Whether you use an app or a spreadsheet to create a budget, once you see all your income and expenses laid out, you can start planning for how to pay off debt. Subtract your fixed expenses from your income. That's your free cash flow. That money is what you have available to cover variable costs and pay down debt. Number 2 on this list is start an emergency savings account. There's nothing like an unexpected car repair coming to ruin all your plans to get out of debt. Life will continue to happen while you're focused on how to pay off your debt, which is why you need an emergency savings account. As much as you may want to put every extra penny towards your credit card balance, if you paid off half your balance, but then you can't pay for an emergency, well, you just have to charge it again. Most experts advise having 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses and savings. So when you're putting your budget together, it should include a line item for savings. Number 3 is reduce monthly bills. If you're wondering how to pay off debt and save, consider ways to reduce monthly bills. Lowering monthly expenses frees up money that can be put toward paying down debt. Are there any unnecessary expenses that can be cut? Maybe drop Netflix or cable for a few months to save money and free up time for a side hustle. If the heating bills have been out of control, many utility companies offer free energy audits, which would identify charges you could make to lower them. And lowering monthly bills is an easy way to find that extra cash to help you get out of debt. Number 4 is to earn extra cash. Having a side hustle has almost become an American institution, right up there with apple pie. Many people now maximize free time by making jewelry to sell on Etsy, driving for a ride-sharing service, or dog sitting. The answer to how do I pay off my debt could be brainstorming ways to earn extra cash. What are your hobbies? Do you have any special skills you could monetize? Which side gigs would work for your daily schedule? Find a way to secure extra cash flow and apply those earnings to paying off debt. Number 5, consider debt consolidation. With debt consolidation, all existing debt is rolled into one loan product. A personal loan or a new balance transfer credit card could be used for this purpose. Debt consolidation helps pay down debt by helping to avoid missing or late payment fees, making it easier to budget, and possibly reducing your interest rate. To determine if it's a smart strategy for your situation, you'll need to calculate your blended interest rate. Blended interest rate is the combined interest rate paid on all your debts. It's calculated by summing the total interest you'll pay in a year and dividing it by the entire principal owned. Or you can use our debt consolidation calculator. And I'll have a link to this article down below for you guys if you do want to use the debt consolidation calculator. Even though the rate on a debt consolidation loan can be quite high, it could still be lower than the blended rate you're already paying, in which case a debt consolidation loan would be a good choice. And number 6 on this list is explore debt relief options. Debt relief companies make grand promises to help solve problems like how to pay off debt, but do they deliver? Yes and no. When you sign up to work with a debt relief company, it negotiates with your creditors to settle or attempt to change the terms of your debt. But there's a catch. Debt relief companies charge fees for services. To increase a creditor's willingness to negotiate, the company may urge clients to stop making payments on their bills. But this will lead to late fees, interest charges, and other penalties that increase debt and hurt credit scores. Debt relief companies can help settle or manage some bills, but they could ultimately do more harm than good. Explore all other options before deciding to work with one. And so the bottom line, my friends, there's no secret to paying off debt and saving money. It requires discipline and a plan. You may have to investigate several avenues for getting out of debt, depending on how much and who you owe, but taking the time to sit down and make a plan will definitely pay off in the long run. And I completely agree. For me personally, like I said, my friends, I want to share with you. I was thinking maybe I'd do another video, but hey, maybe I will, because I'm sure most people aren't still watching. But if you are still here, the gem, the I don't know if I call it a gem, but the strategy I pretty much applied to my situation was taking all of these approaches and combining them into one that worked best for me at the particular, time in my life. And that kind of evolved, right? Because your life isn't always stagnant. Things happen to change, right? Or they should. And with that change, your strategy might change a little bit. So for me, I kind of, took on the approach of the consolidation with like my loans and stuff, because those at the time were, well, I don't know if they were my biggest. Yeah, I think they were. My college loans, I believe, were the biggest debt that I had, along with my, my car that was repoed. So I had back payment on that, a credit card that was delinquent. It was just bad. And so I think it was the consolidation with my loans first that really was the first game changer that helped me to go back to college and, be in good standing so I can get a new loan and so on and so on. Yeah, that really was the first thing I did. But that wasn't really all of my debt. That was only focused on my college loans. My other loans, I then really would say I took on the snowball approach at first. So the smallest credit cards that I had that might have been $300 or $200 or $500, $1,000, whatever. And I didn't have many, but for whatever I had, that was, I think, my first approach. And even that took a little time for me at the time because I wasn't making a lot of money. And once that was pretty much done with like my smallest ones that were, very small, $2,000 or less, pretty much, I think the strategy kind of shifted to take on the Avalanche approach, where I figured out and realized, man, I can make more of an impact on my debt if I'm targeting these over here that are generating the most debt from interest. And it kind of was like, oh, this is kind of obvious. Like this is where my debt's like, because you kind of don't, sometimes you don't feel like you're making progress with the snowball approach as much as you might think, just because you're like, well, I mean, these are all peanuts. These little ones I got out of the mix of peanuts. I got these huge ones left that I got to really tackle. And then with the debt avalanche, you don't really see anything paid off in full as quickly as the snowball approach. So it's tricky. And I just figured, hey, I'm in my own lane anyway. I already feel like I'm a weirdo in that sense. So why wouldn't I do this my own way, where I blend and I have a combination of all three, right? And it worked for me because I'm currently debt free. I don't have any debt. I mean, I think you guys saw my credit. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe, because we dive into my actual credit report to some extent too. And you guys can see my score. You can see kind of the progress I've made. And I think right now my debt is like $800, and that's on like, and not even, no, that's just what like the credit, what has been reported. So if I look on Credit Karma or whatever, I think it says $800, but I'm pretty sure those have been paid off. Maybe not. There might be like $300 on one of my credit cards right now. So I don't want to lie, but you guys get what I'm saying. I mean, my credit limit has gone up quite a bit. I got to make a new video diving into where my score is, or how much my limit is now after getting this new credit card recently. So my friends, it's been an exciting journey, and we still have a long ways to go, and I'm hoping you guys are able to learn from me, and either learn from me or by me or whatever. As an example, I might be making bad moves right now, right? There might be things that I could be doing, which, I know there are some things I'm like, okay, this probably isn't the smartest investment or thing I can be spending my money on, but I'm enjoying life also, right? And it's having that balance. I've worked hard to get to this point. I need to, kind of treat myself to some extent. Not to the point where I'm splurging, I'm balling, I'm like, oh, I'm getting me a G-Wagon, because that's the thing these days on Instagram and whatnot. I'm good on all that. I ain't trying to impress anyone, right? I'm happy. Life is good. Family's good. What more can you ask for? Well, there's a lot more you can ask for. But my friends, get started with implementing these strategies, these tips, this advice to help you with paying off that debt for 2022. But it starts now. It's the end of 2021 right now. We got like 3 weeks left to go until the new year. Now is the time for you guys to implement this strategy. Don't wait until don't say, okay, I'm going to start on January 1st. No, start today. Start now. Decide which one of these approaches you want to take, or maybe you want to do what I did and take a combination of all three, or maybe just the two of these. But really, get your budget in place. I think these tips down here were great. Get your budget in place. Get that emergency account in place. But ultimately, do the budgeting first. I think this really is the first step you can do with everything on this list. This was the first thing I wrote down as what I wanted to say to you guys, to really do the budgeting, where you have your list of all of your expenses, and that includes your minimum payment on your debt, and know how much you need to make: food, rent, all your bills. Make sure your income generates enough money to tackle those expenses. After that, then we do want to get an emergency savings account in place, but and you do want to implement these other tips. But really deciding on which strategy you want to tackle and use to tackling your debt, you want to implement, is probably going to be the next suggestion, I would say. And I'm going to fine tune this kind of paying off debt process or system workflow, and try to help give you guys a more clear guide, a path, or again, guidance, because everyone's different. Like I said, what strategy might be best for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work as effectively for someone else. So the funnel, it starts pretty wide, and obviously it's going to come in and be more fine-tuned as to how exactly and what exactly you will do based on your particular situation. So I'll be definitely releasing more content. I've already released some videos diving into like the Snowball approach, maybe the Avalanche. I don't know if I posted it yet, but I think too many people are overlooking the importance of not just budgeting, but implementing one of these strategies to help you with speeding up the process and the time of paying off your debt. So, my friends, I hope you guys found this video helpful, motivational, encouraging. You can absolutely be debt-free in 2022 if you work at it. And maybe not in 22. It might take 2 years. It might take 3 years. But starting now is probably the most important thing you can do. And if you watch the video this far, kudos to you, my friend. I think much respect and good luck, best of luck with the journey. Definitely subscribe to the channel, because I will be releasing other content to help you with managing and growing your money, to help you on your journey towards financial freedom. And on that note, my friends, I hope you guys like this video. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I see you on this journey. Comment down below if you've applied any of these strategies to your situation, or if you did a combination, and if there's anything else, any other ways that you think, oh, you know what, there's one other approach that you can apply or potentially implement. Would love to hear from you guys down below. All right, my friends, now I got to keep it moving, but you already know I'll see you in the next video. Peace.